Hi, welcome to Conversion Conversations. This is Cameron, and today I wanted to share a Transformers TCG match I had recently. This is the second round of the Vectro Sigma May 2021 Junkion monthly event. And here for this event, I was inspired by Henry to run a Sparkstalker Crankcase deck with Blackwing just filling out the stars and the ability to sideboard into either Dreadwing or Crankcase's Stratagem as needed. The idea here is it's an aggro deck list that uses Sparkstalker's ability to feed your hand along with Crankcase's flips to get the cards to make big Crankcase swings. My opponent Zarbarian, he's been playing this deck version of this for a while now, and he's been honing it. He's got Crankcase and Barricade with his strat as his big hitters, and then Flamewar and Huffer protecting them. Zarbarian won the coin flip. He goes first. He swings 3 damage into Crankcase, and I pick up a wedge formation off of that. I'm going to flip Sparkstalker, and I'm going to play the wedge to heal Crankcase and draw a card. It's, a free heal for 1, which ain't bad. And my goal here is to wait and make sure I proc off Sparkstalker. So I swung Blackwing back where he has to go into Huffer, and I'm fine with that. Putting 2 damage on Huffer, it's not a lot, but he's not the one I want to focus on. And as I'm talking through this, I'm going to identify some things that I definitely learned from this match. So one thing I want to note is that Zarbarian's being 4 wide helps Crankcase's flips a lot. He gets to flip Crankcase back and forth to get the +1 on his hand. He does play Drill Arms here, which lets him draw another card if he can't scrap a weapon or an armor. I forget exactly which one. But yeah, he's playing these common upgrades to just help his hand and kind of do what Sparkstalker does without necessarily leaning into orange. He sends Flamewar into Blackwing where he has to. She deals 3 damage. I don't care about that. Again, I'm aggro. I'm not flipping blue pips anyway. With Sparkstalker, I'm going to give him bold 2, and then I'm going to incoming transmission. So noting here, flip the order of those, play the transmission first, then check which weapon you want to play. But that's okay. Now, with Sparkstalker, I have a choice of targets, and I want to go into Flamewar at this point. She's giving tough to the whole team. I want to turn that off if possible. I do hit my orange pips, so I get to draw 2, and then I think it's going to end up being like 6 damage. Unfortunately, I'll have to fix that glare. Normally, I think I have my light set up in a way that the glare on the cards isn't bad like that. But yeah, I get to send 6 into Flamewar, which I think with the amount of tough and stuff and the crit that Flamewar had defensively, I'm happy with that. Zarbarian here, he's going to get to flip Crankcase and swing with Barricade. His goal with Barricade is to, there's the flip on Crankcase. His goal with Barricade is to get a blank pip like Blade Flurry or something so that he can boost Crankcase's attack and just make him swing huge and kill Sparkstalker outright. Barricade gets a weapon upgrade that, I forget what it's called, Dismantling Claw. When it gets scrapped, it scraps a weapon. He does not get the blank pip, but he does get a big hit into Blackwing, so Blackwing's only got 3 health left. And now it's time for my Crankcase to swing. I'm going to draw up to 6 cards in hand, I believe. Crankcase is going to flip, and I can essentially play 1 card. And here's that moment, or not yet. I don't think this is the big moment I want to talk about. But yeah, so I'm going to flip Crankcase and then probably put a weapon on him. I guess this is a moment where I probably lost focus a little bit. My goal here should be to kill Flamewar. Kill Flamewar, turn off the tough. That puts me at a bit of an advantage. I think I'm doing math in my head right now, and I think I can kill Huffer with a weapon. And I'm wondering if that's what I do. And to me, that's a misplay. Instead of doing that, I could have played a defensive action to protect from a Crankcase swing. Yep, there's the Howling Howitzer. Or I could have played nothing, kept the cards in hand to be able to have more efficient turns later on. Instead, I play the Howling Howitzer, which I don't need to kill Flamewar, and then I swing into Flamewar. Oh, and then I play, what is that? Point position? Or the bold 2. So Crankcase is swinging with 8, 9, bold 2, pierce 1, which is plenty to kill Huffer, but overkill for Flamewar, and I am attacking into Huffer, so I get the kill, but that's not who I should have been going into. Because, of course, after my opponent's Crankcase hit, then I get my choice of targets, and I could have, at that point, sent Crankcase back in with more buffs to try and kill his Crankcase or do Barricade or something. So this was a big misstep on my part, which I think Zarbarian capitalized on. He knows that Crankcase is the big threat in my deck list, and he's going to send his Crankcase right in there. And I hope everyone's having a good day. This is kind of nice. I haven't done one of these videos in a long time. Okay, another Drill Arms. I don't have any armor for him to discard, so he gets to draw a card. Yeah, it's life's been pretty busy for me, but I always like doing these kind of look back and see what you learn type videos. And I probably, because I've been busy and I haven't been able to do them in a while, I think that my strength as a player, I've never been a top tier player, but I've definitely been making more mistakes just because I've had less time to play, unfortunately. I think Zarbarian's counting pips there, because he's got a mixed deck. It's not fully blue, so if he gets lucky here, he can get the kill. He needs to get 9 damage, and I've only got 1 defense. He knows I probably don't have blue pips, so if he can hit 10, and I live at 1 health. So this moment is likely my big misplay. We're gonna untap here. So I have Crankcase with 1 health left. Blackwing has 3 health left, and in my head I'm trying to remember if there are any blue common direct damage cards in the game. There are. There is Scouting Mission, and there is, Energon's Slingshot, but both of those exist in the game, and if I was checking my opponent's graveyard, I probably would have seen that he was playing one or the other, so Crankcase needs to attack now. Odds are I can't attack with both Crankcase and Blackwing. Zarbarian kills one and then will sink an attack into the other. Crankcase has the bigger attack. He should attack now. I should buff him as much as I can and swing into his Crankcase. I think instead of doing that, okay, incoming transmission. Or no, this is a swindled, so this is a big misplay. I'm not increasing my hand size, which is limiting my ability to do anything with Crankcase's big attack, because I've only got 5 in hand. So again, last turn I mentioned I shouldn't have played anything that turn. Here, yeah, I'm dropping cards. I still only have 5 in hand, so essentially if I want to attack with Crankcase, I can't do anything else with him this turn. So instead of playing Swindled, I should have done something else. And yeah, here's where I realize, I think, my big mistake. So I'm like, oh shit. And then I'm thinking, okay, can I protect Crankcase with Blackwing for a turn and build my hand up using Sparkstalker? What I really should have done was play that Erratic Lightning if I didn't drop it off the Swindle, play that on Crankcase, and swing Crankcase into Crankcase. And then if I waited to not play some cards the previous turn, I would have been able to give him bold 2 at this point. Instead, I'm going Blackwing in here, and this is, to me, this is where I lost this game. Yeah, my opponent has the hidden fortifications. He gets to protect Flamewar. And that probably would have kept Crankcase alive if I had gotten Crankcase into Crankcase, but it would have left Crankcase in a vulnerable position for me to try and clean up later. Of course, my opponent here, I'm assuming he kills Crankcase, and then he's going to swing into Blackwing. So yeah, I spent cards getting to 8 base attack when I could have been spending those cards getting to 11 base attack, bold 2. And here's just the reshuffle. But yeah, I mean, again, I think Zarbarian did a great job capitalizing on my mistakes. And this was definitely a fun learning match. I always like playing against Zarbarian. He's a cool guy. We always have a good chat while we play. Okay, yep, there is the scouting mission. So Crankcase dies, I get to draw 2. And yeah, at this point, like, yeah, he can send Barricade in to protect Flamewar. I think that makes sense. And odds are... Oh no, he sends Flamewar in. Okay. There's a tiny chance that Flamewar doesn't get there? No, there's not. Because she's attacking with 4 base attack. Yep. So at this point, it's game over. Sparkstalker is going to kill Flamewar, but it's too little too late. He cannot survive. Emergency Barricade, but as my opponent's running drill arms and things like that, odds are that there's just nothing Sparkstalker can do to survive the onslaught of both these characters. Yep, there's the kill on Flamewar. I will say I'm looking forward to, now that people are vaccinated and stuff, our local group is talking about getting together to play some Transformers at some point. Which, probably the first couple sessions I'm not going to bother recording, just hanging out with friends. But then eventually maybe play some in-person games again, which I'm looking forward to. Yep, so there's that fun combo. Replace the Claw, which is a card I think I did a spoiler for, with the Drill Arms, and that lets you scrap 2 cards, a weapon and an armor, which is great. And at this point, Sparkstalker is not surviving. Well, I mean, he might survive the Crankcase hit, but we'll see. Crankcase goes in. I do have a hold the line to try and help, but Crankcase has 7 stars, so I'm going to take the 7 damage. Yeah, and we scoop at that point. We should have scooped probably way earlier. You can see where, I mean, if, right, these monthly events, I play them more as just friendly ways to play games. But if you're serious about competing and trying to give yourself the best odds to win, obviously don't make the mistakes I did. But aside from that, being able to identify when you've lost. I lost, I think, after the second misplay. When he killed my Crankcase, that was game over. And I was debating this. I'll be curious to hear your thoughts if I should have sideboarded into Dreadwing at this point. I think the nice thing about Dreadwing is it takes my opponent a little while to get going in the control list. So I did have the time to maybe build Dreadwing up. But in my mind, maybe I wasn't tilted, but I was just like, I want to play this, essentially this same match again, just now that I'm not being an idiot. So I let my opponent go first. I was like, let's just go through it again and let me see if I can come out better. I sideboarded some stuff. I think I put in like a force field just for that like massive Crankcase hit. Yeah, here Zarbarian goes into, he went into Blackwing, which I don't know if I agree with. I think you focus on the threat. Blackwing, like, yeah, he's got 5 base attack, but I'd focus on Crankcase. Blackwing going into Huffer. For 5 damage. That ain't bad. But again, this is going back to me thinking about what my deck needs to do. I need to have cards to buff Crankcase and have him swing big. So was that value on Blackwing worth it, or should I have saved that card? We play My opponent plays Outflank here, doing a damage to Flamewar to buff her and draw a card. And yeah, that's a decent Flamewar hit. It manages to get a 6 damage onto Blackwing. So there's another incoming transmission. Just building up the hand. And there's the draw 2 off Sparkstalker. Killing Huffer, but again, here is, right, talking about targeting. Huffer is there to be a hit point sponge. So if I'm attacking him, I'm playing into my opponent's strategy. I should be attacking into Flamewar. Secret action, likely hidden fort or hold the line. Barricade going in. And yeah, if Barricade is going into Blackwing, that's a kill. Oh, and he got the Blade Flurry, which is nice. Barricade being able to essentially play that on Crankcase for free next turn is super nice. So Crankcase might get to one-shot Sparkstalker, depending on what my opponent's got. 5 cards in hand, so you can still play a weapon and then play the Blade Flurry on top of that. Maybe not kill Sparkstalker, but kill Crankcase for sure. So I'm supercharging my Crankcase, and I think unfortunately that's all I can do. So I'm swinging 8, bold 3. There's the hold the line. Which I'll do a bunch of attack, but I'm only gonna deal 7. Alright, and then there's the weapon. We flip Barricade, put the Blade Flurry on Crankcase. So he's swinging what? 8, 11, and then plus 4 from the Blade Flurry, so he's swinging 15. Yeah, so my Crankcase is very, very dead. Honestly, that's a one-shot for a Sparkstalker at that point. So again, this game is essentially over. We untap. Sparkstalker can kill Flamewar or Barricade, but Crankcase is in a very strong position. Emergency Barricade, Armored Assault. So I do get a bunch of bold here. Bold 1 from my Stratagem, bold 2 from the Flamethrower, bold 1 from the Armored Assault, since I do have an armor. And the goal here is to try and protect Sparkstalker, but with drill arms and things like that, and my opponent's hand size, odds are I'm not holding on to that Emergency Barricade. I do get the KO on Barricade. So if I had played this properly, it would have been Huffer and Crankcase I would have been facing, which might have been a little bit more survivable. Probably still a disadvantageous position. Probably even if I had targeted appropriately earlier, just with the Blade Flare, like getting that one shot, my opponent, Zarbarian, being able to use Crankcase as well as he does, I think made a huge difference. Yep, there we get rid of the emergency barricade. Flamewar goes in first. I do not have a hold the line down to help me out. I only take 2 damage, but now Crankcase has a smaller threshold that he needs to hit. So I am living at 1 health, and I think Zarbarian has Energon Slingshot or the Scouting Mission in hand, so that is a good match to my opponent. I think that was some great games. Obviously, I didn't play them as well. Here, we're just, like, I think we've already, conceded. I've conceded. But we're talking about, like, options and things. And, yeah, I think looking back at this video definitely taught me some things. Hopefully, I'll play better next time. And thanks, everyone, for hanging out and watching. And I'll catch you all on the next one. See ya.